This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hi folks, hope you're all keeping well. So today we're back with Jinjer again. This time it's Words of Wisdom live. This is another request from one of my VIP elite patrons. So if you'd like to get your request in, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. You'll find the links in the description below. So let's get to it. Go. How tight, how absolute tight is that? I don't know. For a live performance, like, that's just insane. So we'll go back With being one of the biggest online resources to offer professional courses in a vast array of subjects, you need to look no further than Skillshare. Not only will you find classes in creativity, including creative writing, fine art, film and video, graphic design, music, photography, web development, and animation, you'll also find classes on lifestyle, productivity, marketing, leadership and management, freelance and entrepreneurship, and business analytics. Some of the classes that I've previously recommended have covered the basics of music theory and the elements of FM synthesis. In this video, I'd like to introduce you to a class about mixing at home with stock plugins by Graham Cochran from the Recording Revolution, who also has a great YouTube channel. With mixing and production being one of the subjects I like to touch upon in my analytical videos, some of you may find this class very interesting, especially at putting things in context a little better in terms of how he mixes drums. He also covers fattening up the bass, which is a notoriously difficult instrument to get to sit in a mix properly. And then he also covers a basic quick mastering tutorial as well. And all you got to do is click on the link in the description below and use the promo code JW Soundworks, and the first 1,000 people to click on that link will get a free 1-month trial for Skillshare. Do a bit of a breakdown this time. Okay. So that little intro, you can see Vad's got the studio session there on his laptop. We've got the sort of filter sweep there. You can hear that. What that is, like, you can gradually hear like a high pass filter opening, where you get that opening. And it's all been automated, obviously, within the whatever DAW they're using. If it's on a Mac, it's probably Logic, which is what I use as well. Yeah, it does look like Logic from there. It's difficult to tell though. Anyway, there's obviously a lot of manipulation going on within that little audio intro. You can hear just before the band kicks in, there's that sweep opening. If you like that kind of electronic manipulation, there's a guy you need to check out, a French guy called The Algorithm, Remy Gallego. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his surname right, but I've been listening to this stuff since Polymorphic Code came out. That guy's an absolute master of, well, he's just a master. He's incredible. But that little section there reminded me very much of his music, which is all instrumental stuff. You really should check his stuff out if you're not familiar with it. Obviously, this is the first time listen, so I wasn't sure what the content was in that introduction track, but it sounded like there were notes from the riffs that I was picking up, that came in the song whenever they were playing live. There was a particular pattern with the harmonies and the guitar riff, and I could hear it in there, so I'm guessing that's part of the song. I don't know whether they've created that for a live thing or whether that's part of the album. Maybe that's how it's brought in. But yeah, okay. It is the same song, isn't it? There's a great question and answer thing going on with that riff. You hear that when you hear that da-da, the melodic bit, when that goes down to the bam-bam, there's like an answer to that. Also, what's really interesting to me is how loud the bass is in the mix. If you listen, you can certainly hear that really, really clearly. There's a lot of metal bands, the bass is buried in a live mix, and it's very, very difficult to tell. What's the bass and what's the guitar, especially in really, really down-tuned stuff, if the bassist is playing note for note on the guitar. So that's one thing that definitely sets them apart, is just the bass tone, how loud it is in the mix. And then you can hear how integral the bass playing is, because it's obviously in tandem with the guitar, but it's set apart. It's not trying to double the guitar in that sense. It does double the guitar, but it's its own thing. It's a difficult bass riff. Just listen to how intricate the double kick is with the guitar. It's so locked in. Dun, 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 dun. Incredible. Even all the cymbals are with the full on double kick. This is a song of theirs that stands out to me with the pick squeals on the guitar. There's certainly nothing coming to me off the top of my head that I remember hearing Roman doing that before. You know, it's a real, it's a very sort of metal trope, really having the pick squeals in there. You know, Killswitch Engage are a band that live, they have pick squeals everywhere, where it's not always present on the studio recordings. But yeah, it's the first. I think it's the first time I've ever heard them doing that live, or in any of their music. There. I guess you'd say, for anybody who doesn't know what I mean by that, is it's whenever you're holding the pick that you pinch. It's called a pinch harmonic, is the proper name for it. I call it a pick squeal. But it's whenever you. Sorry, I got a bit of a frog in my throat today. Sorry. It's whenever you pinch the string between the fleshy part of your thumb and the actual pick, so in between. So he's sort of squeezing and getting and hitting that, you know, in a certain place between the pickups there, and you get that squeal, you know. That's what that is. So when I heard this sort of thrash riff the first time, I always found it difficult to know where they were placing the beat. So I'll maybe rewind that back. You've probably seen me, I was counting out my finger that time to sort of anticipate it. I think the downbeat is on the snare, whereas the first time I listened to it, I thought it wasn't. I thought it was more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I haven't had a coffee today, guys. I really should inject myself with some caffeine. Brain's a little bit groggy this morning. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah. That's a bit of a clue with the way Roman's banging his head. You can see he's on that as well. Although, if any of you are familiar with the term, you know, a lot of drummers I've used this before, and I agree that you know, you're better to nod on the 2 and 4 instead of nodding on the 1 and 3. You know, it's a kind of in joke amongst musicians and drummers in particular that you know, the way people groove to music when you watch them. So you should take a look around the crowd next time you're in a gig and see. You'll see it's different the way people groove to music, even if it's in a straight time. You know, you'll see a lot of people will do it on the 1 and 3, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you're counting that, drummers like to see 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's not always reliable when you're watching the likes of a guitarist there, where, you know, he's nodding his head. You might assume that he's nodding his head on the downbeat, but he could be nodding it on the offbeat. You know, instead of the 1 and the 3, it could be on the 2 and the 4. So always best to try and figure it out for yourself. But I think that's what's going on there. Let's run that in one more time, and we'll see if it lines up at the tail. So the reason why I wasn't sure was the first time I listened to it through as what I thought it was. It didn't line up whenever the transition came. So that made me think he must be playing the snare on the downbeat instead of the kick on the downbeat. 2, 3, 4, so 1. So it'd be like, you got it right. So there's a line up, 3, 4, 1. Yeah, so it is into the triplets. Those fills, I'm sorry, those fills, Vlad, are just ridiculous. I know it's all triplets. You know, there's no real polyrhythm thing going on there. I mean, there could be between the feet and the hands, but everything we're hearing is that. But it's fills, just his choice of what drums he's using is just so dynamic. So his kick drum is with the snare on that. How incredibly tight, you know. See, it's not easy. I haven't practiced though. Here again, pervasive with the pick squeals. I like that. I noticed that the first time around as well with the it has to be a backing track guitar that's doing that, because obviously Roman's playing the sort of chuggy riff, but you hear the sort of drone that's up there. Sounds like a guitar part. It's being played to me there, but it does add a sort of ominous quality, doesn't it? Footwork on the drums along with the riff is insane. That's really complex stuff, that, you know, because, you know, essentially it's all played at that speed, but it's like there's certain notes from that are just missing, so you get this sort of periodically missing. I don't know if that's exactly the riff or whatever, like, you know, but it's just incredible, incredibly technical, and performed with absolute ease for live. I mean, not to say anything against local bands and stuff like that, but that's usually one of the signs between like a professional band and like an amateur band. You know, there are a lot of amazing amateur bands out there. Don't get me wrong, there are. Because a lot of amateur bands go on to become professional bands. But when you're at your local shows and you're listening to sort of, you know, less well-known artists, listen to that kind of detail. You know, pay real close attention to that kind of stuff with the footwork, the riffing, and to hear how incredibly tight this is. This is how you can really assess how good a band is when you see them live. You know, with all the wizardry that goes on with studios, you can make any band sound good. If you've got a mastermind there, if you've got a good producer, you've got a good engineer, you can pretty much make anything sound good. So the real test is when you go out live, and I mean, this is elite. I think that may be one of the first times I've noticed, he's maybe done it before in other songs, but it's the first time certainly I've noticed Eugene using a pick at moments. Obviously the majority of everything I've watched up until now, I could see that he's using his fingers to play everything. I'm pretty sure he's holding a pick at that point, which doesn't surprise me. I'm sure it's not a decision because of that riff to use the pick because it's easier to play or anything like that. It's probably a tonality choice, because when you use the fingers, because of the flesh, and the sort of thud kind of percussive nature of using the fingers on the bass, it produces a different tone to it does with a plectrum. With a plectrum, you get a much more sort of bright, sharper attack on the note. So in a way, that riff would sound probably more muddy if he was using his fingers. Just a different quality of tone, more muffled kind of sounding. So he's probably using the plectrum there just to get a more snappy kind of tone. I'm not sure where he stores it though. You can see in that shot there where his hand, you can see he's clearly pinching something between his thumb and index finger. Excuse me. Because he's I don't know where he's keeping his pick unless he's got some on the back of his headstock or whatever, like, but he's produced that from nowhere effortlessly. Also hear how much reverb and delay is on Tatiana's vocals. It gives a big sort of wide open space up into that higher register. It would still work without it, but if you think the guys are playing everything, the only high frequencies that we're hearing apart from Tatiana are the crash cymbals, because the guitar's way down, the bass is way down, and yes, the guitars are filling out the mids and different things there, but because she's way up there, the vocal could sound very isolated from the rest of the mix because there's a gap between all that heavy double kick, low frequency, detuned guitars, bass guitar, all way down here. Everything's full. That's why partly why everything sounds so heavy. So I think it makes sense having her vocal have this big wide sound with the ethereal reverb and delay, because it just gives us a lot of space up there as well. At least that's one theory. What? Blood. Oh, Vlad. I'm not putting a heart up on this one, but I love you. So, thanks very much for this request. Null Unit. I'm sure we'll be back again with Jinjer very, very soon, guys. So, yeah, hot stuff as always. If you like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And check out some more of my videos. Done quite a lot of Jinjer videos at this point. And I think I've just went over a year now I'm into this reaction. I think I missed the anniversary because I think the video was around the 13th of February, so I missed it. So there you go. Just letting you know. About a year now, so I've accumulated a decent amount of videos there. Some of them are probably worth watching. Let's hope so. See you next time. Thank you to all you guys that have been donating through the Buy Me a Coffee link and also been buying my music, purchasing from Bandcamp. That's amazing. Thank you very much. That is what supports this channel, because all of these reactions are all copyright, so I don't earn anything from this, and yeah, you're getting adverts and all that, but that's all being collected by the managers and all the rest of that. So if you do enjoy what I'm doing, and you want to help support me, Bandcamp's your best bet. Go to Bandcamp, because you can buy that for the same price of the coffee, and you're getting all my music, So thank you very much to everybody that is helping support the channel.